Imagine it's midnight, the quiet hum of streetlights casting long shadows over a suburban neighborhood, and the camera pans slowly over a modest house where inside, Marcus and his wife Angela are just settling in for the night after a long week. The warmth of their home, the laughter echoing from their small kitchen, feels like a safe haven until the sharp, sudden sound of a battering ram smashing against the front door shatters the peace. A flash of fear washing over Angela as she instinctively clutches the framed family photos on the wall. And Marcus, alert immediately despite having just poured a cup of tea, feels his heart race as he hears shouted commands through a megaphone. "Police! Everyone stay where you are!" In that instant, he realizes that the wrong house has been targeted, a mix-up in addresses that could destroy lives. And as the officers push their way in, chaos erupts. Angela screams as she is pushed to the floor and grazed by the force of a police officer falling into her. Marcus's mind switches into a trained state of hyper-awareness, every muscle tensing, his Navy SEAL instincts kicking in. Every step he learned from years of covert operations, every strategy for protection and negotiation running through his head. He speaks calmly but firmly, raising his hands. "Everyone, stop! No one needs to get hurt." His voice cutting through the panic like a lifeline, and the officers hesitate, confusion flickering across their faces, because Marcus's presence exudes authority, not panic. He moves quickly to shield Angela with his own body while assessing the situation, noting the positions of each officer, the doorway, the furniture, everything as if it were a tactical map in his mind. Outside, the neighbors are peeking through curtains, cell phones capturing flashes of light and shouting, the tension thick, the narrative tightening, and Marcus uses every ounce of his training to de-escalate, speaking clearly, identifying himself, proving his identity with credentials. And slowly the officers begin to recognize the mistake, their aggression fading as realization sets in. But the emotional toll is immediate. Angela trembling, tears streaming, the violation of safety leaving a mark deeper than any physical injury could. As he comforts her, the story delves into Marcus's past, a decorated Navy SEAL commander who led critical missions, who carried the weight of life and death decisions overseas, now confronting an unexpected domestic battlefield. He reflects on the irony that after serving his country, he faces the chaos of bureaucracy at home, the narrative weaving between flashbacks of grueling missions, the brotherhood of his SEAL team, and his life now as a devoted husband, highlighting his internal struggle between fury, restraint, and the desire for justice. The scene escalates as Marcus begins calmly guiding the officers, pointing out the mistake, advocating for accountability, while shielding Angela his demeanor, commanding yet controlled, demonstrating leadership born from experience. The story showing not just a physical confrontation, but the psychological and emotional intensity of being caught between trauma and responsibility. Meanwhile, Angela's voice, shaky but strong, narrates her perspective. The fear, the betrayal, the shock, and yet the immense relief as Marcus protects her, every moment drawn out to increase tension, to connect the audience emotionally with close-ups on trembling hands, widened eyes, and the subtle but powerful display of courage. As the officers finally step back, the reality of what could have happened hangs in the air. Marcus's mind racing through contingency plans, the narrative emphasizing how training, love, and courage intersect, how one man's experience becomes the difference between disaster and survival, the audience drawn into the drama, hooked by the tension and the hero's moral compass. And as calm slowly returns, the story begins to hint at the larger conflict, the mistakes in the system that led to the raid, the corruption, miscommunication, and negligence, laying the groundwork for a suspenseful investigation that Marcus will lead. The camera panning over the quiet street now lit by flashing police lights, neighbors whispering, Angela clinging to Marcus, the narrative voice urging viewers to subscribe to witness the unfolding story of courage, justice, and redemption. promising twists and revelations that will test the limits of resilience, all while keeping the emotional, cinematic tension high, leaving the audience at the edge of their seat, anticipating the next chapter of Marcus's fight to right a wrong, protect his family, and uncover the truth behind the raid that changed everything. As dawn breaks over the quiet neighborhood, Marcus sits at the kitchen table, Angela beside him, both still shaken from the midnight chaos, the weight of the previous night pressing down on them, and the camera pans slowly over the remnants of the raid. Scuffed furniture, a broken doorframe, and scattered papers, visual cues of violation and fear. While Marcus, calm on the surface yet storming inside, begins piecing together what went wrong, his mind running through every detail, replaying officer movements, commands, and miscommunications like a tactical replay from his SEAL days. And he knows that while the immediate danger has passed, the real battle is just beginning. He grabs his laptop, contacting old military contacts and legal advisors, piecing together a strategy not just to protect his family, but to expose the negligence and corruption that allowed such a raid to happen. The narrative diving into his meticulous planning, showing the audience how precision, patience, and calm under pressure can turn chaos into control, while Angela, trembling yet resolute, insists they document everything, record testimonies from neighbors, and gather proof of the officer's mistakes. The story highlighting her strength and resilience, emphasizing that she is not merely a victim but a partner in the fight for justice. Her perspective providing emotional depth and grounding for viewers to connect with. Meanwhile, the narrative flashes back to Marcus's SEAL training, illustrating how years of strategy, leadership, and crisis management in life-and-death missions are now being repurposed to navigate a domestic nightmare, his inner monologue revealing guilt, anger, and an unyielding resolve to prevent anyone else from suffering like his family did, and as he calls in favors speaking to trusted journalists and civil rights advocates, the story builds tension by showing the ripple effects of a single mistake in a system too large and bureaucratic to self-correct quickly. While Marcus balances this with tenderness toward Angela, sharing a quiet moment in their damaged kitchen, a reminder of what he is fighting for, and the narrative pivots back to the present with the arrival of a mysterious tip. An anonymous caller hinting that the raid may have been orchestrated, suggesting deeper corruption, and Marcus immediately senses the stakes have escalated, the suspense tightening, the audience drawn into questions of who can be trusted, and what hidden agendas lurk behind the badge. He begins covertly investigating, using SEAL-inspired observation techniques, documenting every discrepancy, following paper trails, and mapping connections between officers, precincts, and suspicious informants, the story showing not just action, but the psychological tension as each discovery leads to more questions, more potential threats, and Marcus's calculated restraint keeping him from acting rashly, protecting Angela and ensuring they stay one step ahead, while Angela, despite fear, trains herself to notice details, becoming his eyes and ears in the home, a subtle but powerful demonstration of teamwork and trust under duress, the camera lingering on their quiet determination, close-ups on eyes scanning documents, hands typing rapidly, whispered conversations in shadowed corners, building suspense and audience engagement. As the investigation deepens, Marcus uncovers hints that the raid may have been tied to a local official's personal vendetta, the plot twisting to reveal that negligence was not just incompetence but perhaps intentional, raising stakes, tension, and urgency, and the story weaves between these discoveries and moments of domestic intimacy. Marcus cooking breakfast for Angela, her tentative smile, the sound of a cat stretching by the window, contrasting the chaos outside with the fragility and preciousness of normal life, all while the narrative continues to pull viewers into the suspenseful unraveling of corruption, culminating in a cliffhanger where Marcus receives an ominous message. Stop digging or face consequences, leaving Angela clutching his arm, eyes wide, and the camera slowly zooming out from their kitchen window, The quiet street hiding shadows and secrets, the tension, thick the moral stakes high, and the narrator urging viewers to subscribe and follow the story as Marcus prepares to confront forces far more dangerous than a simple midnight raid, promising twists, suspense, and a powerful message about courage, justice, and standing up for what is right. Even when the odds seem insurmountable, leaving the audience on the edge of their seats heart racing, waiting for Chapter 3. Night falls again over the city, and Marcus sits in the dim glow of his laptop, the blue light reflecting off his focused eyes as he connects the dots between the anonymous tip paperwork anomalies and whispers of corruption within the police precinct, every piece of evidence pointing toward a larger conspiracy that he must navigate carefully, and Angela, standing nearby, wraps a comforting hand around his shoulder, their quiet determination creating a moment of warmth in the shadow of danger. But the peace is fleeting as the camera pans to a car parked across the street. Headlights dim. An unknown figure watching their house. Tension mounting, suspense thickening like the calm before a storm. And Marcus immediately senses that their investigation has attracted unwanted attention, his SEAL instincts alerting him to potential ambushes, escape routes, and defensive positions even in his own home, the story heightening suspense as he formulates a plan to protect Angela while continuing to uncover the truth. Emphasizing the cinematic tension with close-ups on his hands, on Angela's face, on the shadows outside, each detail a brushstroke of drama for the audience. As Marcus begins his covert surveillance, documenting the mysterious vehicle, he receives another cryptic message hinting at insider involvement, the revelation twisting the narrative as he realizes that someone within the system is actively working against them, escalating the stakes, and the story delves into Marcus's strategic mind, showcasing his training in patience, observation, and calculated risk, all while maintaining a human, emotional connection with Angela. Their whispered conversations laced with fear and love, reminding viewers that even heroes fight to protect the ones they love, not just to defeat their enemies. Tension spikes when Marcus notices patterns that suggest the raid was part of a broader cover-up to protect a corrupt official from exposure. And as he digs deeper, following a trail of falsified reports, suspicious payments, and silent witnesses, the audience is drawn into a web of suspense, moral conflict, and mystery, each revelation more shocking than the last. The narrative cutting between his methodical investigation, Angela's emotional resilience, and the looming threat of discovery by those who would prefer silence. A particularly dramatic twist arrives when a trusted friend of Marcus S. contacts him with evidence implicating a high-ranking officer, the betrayal amplifying tension, and Marcus realizes the danger is closer than ever. Their home no longer a safe haven, but the story balances the suspense with cinematic sequences of love, quiet courage, and human connection. Marcus making coffee for Angela at dawn, her tentative smile, moments of calm punctuating the tension, building audience investment in their bond. As the investigation continues, Marcus orchestrates a clever plan to gather undeniable proof, setting up hidden cameras, tracing digital footprints, and preparing for a confrontation that could expose corruption and bring justice. But the story keeps viewers on edge as unexpected setbacks occur. A misdelivered document, a neighbor inadvertently alerting a suspicious officer, a system glitch threatening to erase hours of work, each moment amplifying suspense and emotional intensity, while Marcus's internal monologue reflects frustration, determination, and unwavering love for Angela, reinforcing the human stakes behind the cinematic action. Culminating in a tense cliffhanger, the story shows Marcus receiving an urgent call from Angela, her voice shaking as she reports a suspicious visitor at the door. And the camera zooms on Marcus's eyes narrowing, every instinct on high alert, the audience sensing imminent confrontation, the tension nearly unbearable with the narrator urging viewers to subscribe and follow every twist and turn, promising that the next chapter will reveal secrets, test courage, and showcase the unwavering resolve of a man fighting to protect his family while exposing injustice. leaving the audience breathless and eager for Chapter 4, knowing that the stakes could not be higher and that the culmination of courage, intelligence, and love is about to unfold in the final dramatic resolution. The tension reaches its peak as Marcus moves silently through the dimly lit streets, the night air crisp and heavy with anticipation, every step measured, every shadow scrutinized, his mind replaying every lesson from his SEAL training as he prepares to confront the corruption that ruined their lives. And Angela, standing safely behind a discreet barrier, watches with a mix of fear and admiration, her faith in him unwavering as the camera captures the emotional gravity of the moment, close-ups highlighting clenched jaws, narrowed eyes, and trembling hands gripping flashlights and phones as evidence is recorded in real time. Marcus reaches the office of the corrupt official, heart pounding yet steady, and the narrative slows to emphasize the stakes: exposure of negligence, restoration of justice, and protection of the innocent. The suspense palpable as he presents his meticulously gathered proof: documents, videos, witness statements, and digital trails, each piece building an undeniable case, and the officers who once threatened his home are confronted with the truth, their confusion, shame, and fear juxtaposed with Marcus's controlled authority, demonstrating that courage and preparation can outmatch brute force. Angela's voice joins the narration, recounting the trauma, the fear, and the resilience required to survive the ordeal, giving viewers a human connection to the stakes, the love, and the moral imperative behind Marcus's actions. And as the corrupt official realizes exposure is inevitable, the story delivers a powerful twist. He attempts to manipulate, threaten, and bribe, but Marcus anticipates every move, remaining calm, strategic, and morally unyielding, a cinematic display of intelligence, courage, and leadership, emphasizing to the audience that true heroism is not in aggression but in thoughtful, deliberate action in the face of injustice. The confrontation escalates briefly, tension peaking before the officials' schemes unravel completely. Investigations are launched, and systemic accountability begins, the camera panning over Marcus and Angela standing together, exhausted but triumphant, their hands clasped, the emotional climax highlighting love, courage, and justice, while subtle flashbacks remind viewers of the journey, the midnight raid, the fear, the strategic planning, the twists, and the unwavering determination that led to this moment. As calm returns to their home, Marcus and Angela share quiet, intimate moments, repairing the damaged door, tending to the small scars left by the raid, laughing softly over shared relief, underscoring the human side of the narrative, and the story broadens to show the larger impact. Neighbors inspired, local authorities taking notice, and a message of accountability spreading through the community, the cinematic narration emphasizing that one person's courage can influence many, that love and resilience are powerful forces against injustice, and that even ordinary settings can become arenas of heroism when principles and preparation are applied. The final sequences deliver a reflective, emotional payoff, Marcus addressing viewers directly through the narration, urging calm courage, perseverance, and standing up for what is right while showing the power of preparation, intelligence, and love. And the story concludes with Angela's voice, reinforcing hope, healing, and justice, the camera slowly zooming out over the now quiet neighborhood, the stars shining above, a symbolic reminder that light persists even after darkness, leaving viewers with a sense of closure, triumph, and inspiration, while the narrator delivers a final, powerful message. Courage is not the absence of fear. It is acting with integrity and love when the stakes are highest. Protect those you love, fight for justice, and never give up. The video then ends with a heartfelt subscribe request, urging viewers to follow the channel for more true-to-life emotional stories of resilience, courage, and redemption, promising that each story will challenge the heart, inspire the mind, and remind the audience that ordinary people can do extraordinary things when guided by love and principle.